Dharavi happened to be one of my research projects. I entered Dharavi to study the transport patterns, how goods are made, how goods are sold, how the locals interact with the people, how locals travel, commute, and communicate with the general public.
Maharashtra has approved the Adani Group's bid for the redevelopment of Dharavi.
One of Asia's largest slum clusters is set for a facelift.
The Adani Group yesterday won the bid to redevelop Dharavi.
Dharavi, Asia's largest slum cluster, is set for a facelift.
The Adani Group has bagged India's largest redevelopment project.
We all have seen even used products made in UK, made in US, made in China, made in India. But how many of you know about made in Dharavi? Curious? Yes, you heard it right. Let's talk about it in a while. Dharavi, a area located in heart of Mumbai. Dharavi uniqueness makes it a fascinating subject for a discussion. So let's delve into the story of Dharavi and explore its rich history, culture and economic significance and ongoing efforts to transform it into a sustainable urban place. So let's begin with history of Dharavi. Dharavi was not born yesterday. It is not a slum in a sense that one refers to as so-called illegal or informal settlements of urban poor people found in every Indian city. It is existed when Mumbai was still a Bombay. Dharavi wasn't always in the heart of Mumbai because Mumbai was different back in the day. Under the British East Indian Company, urban growth was mostly concentrated in southern part of Bombay. Dharavi, meanwhile, was located at the northern side of the Bombay, which was a home to the Kohli fishing community people. But as growth exploded in late 1800s, the British Raj forced local residents and the polluting factories away from the center to all the way to Dharavi. As the people began to reclaiming the marshy land, the original settlers moved away and making way for a new entry of people. Mostly people working on cotton mills that rose their employment opportunities. Rural migrants continued to find their way to Dharavi. People are not officially legal to stay, also lived side by side with the original lease owners. And the slum began to take shape. The British did not reinvest in improving the local infrastructure, and so the people were left to look after themselves. No administrative support, no planning, and no investment. Even as the city redrew its border to accommodate the rapid expansion, Dharavi remained where it was. By the mid-1990s, Dharavi found itself a sandwich between the airport on the one side and the international financial district on the other side. That's it, the history of the Dharavi. Let's look forward on the business scale of the Dharavi. Dharavi spread across almost 550 acres of land and home to around 1 million people, on which 50 to 60% are labor. Dharavi is a hub for small-scale industries, and Dharavi exports goods across the globe with an estimated annual turnover around $1 billion. It has approximately 5,000 business entities with 15,000 in-house single-room factories for production, which covers some of the following business. First, leather industries. Be the most prominent industry with the highest share of turnover among all industries in Dharavi. Most of these units make use of animal skin, mainly sheep and goat. Collected from the slaughterhouse for the processing into a leather, animal skin is washed in washing machine, which is made up of wood with a large capacity, and then cut into desired length. After the cutting process, the leather piece is put into the pressing machine with the desired pattern and design. A semi-finished leather pieces after pressing are made into the final products such as belt, purse, wallet, etc. Second, plastic recycling industries. This industry has three phases in recycling process. Mixed plastic waste is segregated and sorted on basics of color and hardness. Segregated and sorted plastic waste is crushed in a crushing machine into a plastic chips. Plastic chips are washed for a dirt removal and then sun-dried before melting them to make into small plastic tables or pallets. One recycling unit on an average recycles 4 tons of plastic waste a day. Next, wax printing. Wax printing is one of the oldest industries in Dharavi. Approximately 40 to 50 wax printing units are functional. Hot molten wax is applied to cloth with the help of wooden block having a desired pattern on the bottom. After solidification of wax, the cloth is colored. After drying, it is washed in hot water to remove wax so that the pattern becomes visible on the cloth. The workers should be skilled enough to work in this industry. Fourth, aluminium brick making industries. This industry uses mixed metal waste as its raw material. In the first step, aluminium is separated from the mixed metal waste by using magnetic separator. Separator scrap solid aluminium is melted in durance maintained at 660 degrees Celsius. Then molten aluminium is molded in the form of 5 kg bricks. Finally, pottery making units. This profession is generally performed by the Kumbar community. The peak time for this profession is Diwali. At the time of Diwali, the whole area is covered by the smoke emitted by pottery kilns. This business is run by the individual households. Each individual house has its own pottery kiln and the shop facing towards the road of the house. Adding to it, I have a question. You would have purchased on Flipkart.com or Amazon.com and many other e-commerce websites. But do you know something called Dharavimarket.com where you can purchase accessories? Yes, a e-commerce website. Basically, Dharavi is a playground for a middleman. Most craft people in the leather and pottery businesses says that is tough to crack the export business. As the result, most of the export business is transacted by middlemen or agents. So they haven't get the right value for their products. That's where the digital venture like Dharavimarket.com came to bridge the gap. The idea is to make the Dharavi products go mainstream. A journalist turned urbanologist who has been involved in this Dharavi for all of a decade now. Megha Gupta launched an app with a 5 lakh investment in 2014 that allows craft people to upload images and details of their products like weight, cost and size to the back end of the Dharavimarket.com. Gupta then verifies the details, adds a commission to the product and then puts it up for a sale. Megha brought a basic 6,500 rupees Android smartphone only to realize that most people she dealt with in Dharavi had a smartphone which cost 15 to 20,000. Dharavi isn't as poor as it looks. And Dharavi already had an order from Poland, Australia, France and South Africa. She expected more sales to come from abroad from tourists who have either been to Dharavi or aware of it. There is a lot more awareness about buying from communities like Dharavi from abroad than in India. The USP of this product is made in Dharavi. That wraps up the business case of Dharavi. Let's dig into what has government done since then to now with Dharavi. Obviously, government wasn't too pleased with these developments. They didn't like the slums and they just didn't like the fact that people here lived on government land. But they couldn't just raise it all down and leave the people homeless. They had to find the middle path. So in 1995, the government of Maharashtra set up a committee and asked what can we do about the slums. The idea was came out to get the private builder to take over the slum. They would build a multi-storage apartment somewhere in the land and ask residents to relocate here, freeing up the land and unlocking the prime real estate. So the government of Maharashtra created the Slum Redevelopment Authority in 1995. They just needed 70% of some developers to agree and they could absorb the Dharavi into the scheme. But the progress was slow, and while the government did float a tenure in 2007 with 101 companies taking part, nothing came out of it. There was a pullback from residents too. You see, in 2009, the Birhan Mumbai Municipal Corporation conducted a survey and found that only 37% of Dharavi residents could prove they would have been living there for stipulated tenure. Only they were eligible for the new homes in the redevelopment program. The others weren't. People feared they would have lost the only home they had. Even state appointed the expert committee called a project as suffocated land grab. They told the government to stop focusing on profit and look after the people who lived in Dharavi instead. And when the things finally got moving in 2019, after UAE-based developer won the bid, it looked like project moving forward, but later there was a change in the government and the tenure was scrapped. So as there was no makeover for Dharavi, and finally now 2023, as Adani won the bid for redevelopment project of Dharavi, the Maharashtra government's aim to complete the redevelopment of slum dwellers within 7 years from the start of construction. Adani can start the construction in 2023 after completing the survey and after the master plan is approved by relevant authorities. According to official, in the next 17 years, over 10 million square feet will be constructed at the cost of over 20,000 crore. Of this, 2 to 3 million square feet is meant for sale in the open market while the rest is for slum dwellers. Above all, we are missing out one important question here. Will this help Dharavi people? Dr. Ronita Bardhan, a fellow at the University of Cambridge, conducted a survey of 1,244 SRH households in Mumbai. She found that many households were spending 40% of their income on electricity for the simple reason that AC ownership had risen drastically. Now, if you are thinking that it's the people's fault for buying a AC in Mumbai, well, not so fast. The researchers set up a temperature sensor within the houses and found that the inside were 10 degrees Celsius warmer than the outside. People living here were forced to buy air conditioners. And it's not just that. In the slums, people cook together in open space, but now they were cooking individually in their homes. Fuel consumption shoots up and eats away all good chunk of their income. Then there is the matter of health. Most developers do bare minimum when it comes to these buildings. They are not selling the properties, they are rehabilitating, and that's not where money is. So most apartments don't even have a proper ventilation. And when you cook indoors, the particulate matters is trapped inside the house for the extended period. As long as the 2.5 hours, and this can have a harmful side effects. Also, some of these SRS don't even get the sunlight. Even mental health takes a toll. For instance, researchers at the International Institute for Population Studies found that 60% of the people surveyed in SRH across Mumbai reported feeling lonely. In slums, this number was just 17%. You can imagine that social network and close communities are an essential part of these slums. So maybe owning an apartment in a building isn't all that it's made out to be. For now, we can only hope the same fact doesn't befall the people of Dharavi. We hope that redevelopment doesn't snatch away their lives, and we hope that doesn't kill the flourishing 1 billion economy too. Progress is good, but hopefully it's done in a manner that is inclusive. So here we go. By understanding the dynamics of Dharavi business value and government action on Dharavi redevelopment, let us conclude with a question. How amazing would be Dharavi after redevelopment, and how well our government can make it happen better for residents of Dharavi without killing their businesses and day-to-day lives? Comment out your thoughts. That put end to our video. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please consider subscribing. We'll see you in another video.